He doesn't want to be a New Orleans Pelican. He wishes he was somewhere else.
He wasn't happy with how the Pelicans brought him back. He thought it was too slow, that he hated how they had him in little short bursts.
We came in, we talked about it. I said, Skip, he might be the first guy to turn down that max contract in his rookie season, his rookie contract. He doesn't want to be there. He's giving me no indication that he wants to be.
Because at the beginning of the season, I told the world, if y'all ever want to know if I want to be here, just ask me. And instead of asking me, the world just ran with narratives. And so when my family was going out in public, they're getting harassed by people on why we don't like New Orleans or why I don't want to be here, when that's not the case at all. Every time I check my phone, it's always something negative. Even when you're trying to make positive of the situation, it was very tough. So it was a roller coaster for sure, but my family, Pels, Miss Benson, they were always there. Thank y'all for really sticking with me the past year.
That bitch. This is the 5th metatarsal. This is the part of the foot that Zion Williamson broke. His particular fracture is what's called a Jones fracture, meaning that it occurred near the base of the bone. Jones fractures are a little bit difficult to heal because the supply of blood is limited in that part of the body. In a lot of cases, it's necessary for athletes to require surgery in order to minimize the likelihood of setbacks and re-injury. And this was the case with Zion Williamson. In September of 2021, Zion underwent surgery on his broken right foot. One of the issues with recovery from a Jones fracture is that you can't bear weight on it, or else you're going to run the risk of re-injury, inhibiting the recovery process of a player of Zion's build. This makes it an even longer process of recovery because not only do you have to allow the necessary amount of time to let the bone heal, you need time to get back into shape and shed any of the additional weight you gained while recovering. Now, for regular everyday niggas like you and me, and I'm assuming you a nigga, but no matter what you are, you my nigga if you listen to this. It wouldn't be a huge deal, but for a world-class athlete, burly, big-ass nigga like Zion, the recovery process is a little more complicated. And so, as NBA fans are well aware, Zion had a rather lengthy recovery process. It's been over a year since Zion played, with his most recent game coming on May 4th in 2021, where he would record 23 points, 12 rebounds, and 7 assists in a win against the Golden State Warriors. Damn, niggas were beating the Warriors. May 4th, they probably was not trying. Ever since then, shows like First Take and Undisputed have ran with every tidbit of information related to Zion Williamson's recovery, using every piece of information, every social media post, as a way to push an agenda and narrative that promotes one idea, that this nigga Zion wants out of New Orleans. One of the biggest catalysts of speculation throughout the entire ordeal that is reported that Zion would be conducting his rehabilitation process in Portland. On January 5th, 2022, Michael Scotto from Hoops Hype shared a statement from David Griffin, the Pelicans' executive producer of basketball. He's the executive producer, nigga. That's what he is. Playing the piano for niggas like they R&B singers and shit. That David Griffin, executive producer, nigga. He was the executive producer for the Cavs. That's why they only made records losing until Braun came in and did his job, man, and got that motherfucking ring. Point is, executive producer of basketball operations, David Griffin, clearly states, made a statement that medical imaging illustrated a necessity to dial back the rehab process. He also clarified that both Zion and the team found it best for him to conduct his rehab away from the team. Zion reiterated this sentiment, stating, in no uncertain terms, I will continue to put in the time necessary so I can get back on the floor with my team and represent the Pelicans fans. And in the city of New Orleans at the highest level, by all indications from this statement, both Zion and the Pelicans made it abundantly clear that they were on the same page in regards to what the rehab process was going to look like. But As you can imagine, this didn't stop the media from running wild with trade speculation.
It doesn't feel like that type of commitment has come out of Zion's camp.
Foot injuries you always worry about, but I do believe that he's not motivated. And being in New York, I think he would have been motivated.
And insists, you're going to build a winner around Zion. We're going to make him happy. How'd that work with CP3? How'd that work with AD? It's not going to work with Zion. Face it.
So even after hearing it from the horse's mouth, so to speak, the media still did everything in their power to fuel speculation that Zion wasn't committed to New Orleans and that he secretly wanted to trade. This, of course, is ridiculous because players undergo rehab away from their team all the time. It's pretty normal. Now, fast forward roughly a month from when that statement was released. The Pelicans traded for CJ McCollum prior to the 2022 trade deadline, sending Josh Hart, Nikhil Alexander, Thomas Zadaransky, that nigga, Thomas Zadarans. They had a dude named Zadarans in New Orleans and they got rid of him. Zadarans! And draft compensation to Portland. Shortly after the CJ McCollum trade was shared during All-Star Weekend, coverage that he hadn't spoken to Zion directly yet, stating I haven't had conversations with him directly. I've spoken with some people close to him and look forward to sitting down with him sooner than later. I know about as much as you do right now, but I'm gonna get to the bottom of it. Now, as you can imagine, the media wasted no time running with wild speculation around Zion not speaking directly with his new teammate, using it as further fuel that Zion wasn't committed to New Orleans.
You're talking about the face of the New Orleans Pelicans franchise, Zion Williamson, CJ McCollum, who is the president of the Players Association, the most responsible dude there is, and they have even talked yet?
He does not have a good relationship with David Griffin. I don't care how many pianos David Griffin plays in the studio session. Blah, 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 blah. Perhaps the most scathing criticism came from Zion Williamson's former teammate, J.J. Redick, stating, "This is a pattern of behavior with Zion Williamson that we are seeing again and again. Look, I was his teammate. I can describe him as the attached teammate. That's an accurate statement. This is just basic level of humanity." Being a teammate, the optics of not reaching out to a new teammate is certainly not good at the very least. It's probably not the worst idea in the world to just send a text to them, welcoming them to the team. Zion definitely didn't do himself any favors, but at the same time, you have to consider what Zion is going through. He'd experienced setback after setback. He'd been dealing with these rumors for months now, and he's away from his team, from his family. He's unable to play the sport that he loves to play. So I'm willing to cut him a little slack here. And then there's no doubt that the media was just looking for something to latch onto and run with. And this happened to be that one thing. But shortly thereafter, CJ McCollum took the time to clear the air around the situation, showering Zion with praise, both as a teammate and as a person.
This misconception of what he's like as a human being. He's nice, he's fun-loving, he's from the South, he loves his Southern cuisine, obviously, but I think the cool part is that his teammates like him, right? You see the media, you see how he's treated. He doesn't really speak very often. There's a lot of people that kind of speak for him behind the scenes. All in all, I've enjoyed my experiences with him. He works extremely hard. The rehab process is brutal, not only mentally, but physically.
Now, towards the end of the season, when the Pelicans are making a playoff push, Zion would post a video of him dunking. Now, this is something we see all the time. A guy who's been injured posts a video of themselves putting in work, and it's oftentimes a way to show that they're getting healthy again and that they're close to returning to play. We saw in the beginning of the video, the media twisted something as innocent as a video of Zion dunking into a coded message about him not wanting to play in New Orleans and that they were somehow holding him back.
He wasn't happy with how the Pelicans brought him back.
He doesn't want to be a New Orleans Pelican.
He doesn't want to be there.
Now, don't get me wrong. There's no doubt in my mind that Zion was dying to be out there playing during the playoffs with the Pelicans. Any player with any semblance of a competitive spirit would want to be out there with their team in a playoff setting and try to compete for a championship. So if Zion was frustrated about this, I don't blame him. It's okay to be frustrated with your team's medical staff for not clearing you to play, even though you may still believe that you're healthy enough to be out there. But at no time did Zion indicate to anybody in any concrete, tangible terms that he was unhappy with how his recovery was going or how the Pelicans were handling his injury. They let him rehab in Portland. They had a team staff with him through every step of the process. And by all measures, they did everything to protect him and his health. We fast forward to now, and Zion recently signs his rookie max. We fast forward now, and Zion recently signs his rookie max contract extension with the Pelicans. Following the signing, the Pelicans held a press conference where Zion could be seen with a smile on his face constantly, and he reiterated many times his gratitude to the organization, as well as his commitment to helping New Orleans compete for a championship next season. But this one part of the press conference is, in my opinion, the most important part of all.
So when my family was going out in public, they're getting harassed by people on why we don't like New Orleans or why I don't want to be here, when that's not the case at all.
Okay, and here lies the issue. The media has no regard for the consequences of crafting these false narratives. They only care about clicks and advertising dollars and ratings. They don't care that Zion's family was being harassed by fans due to the narrative that the media themselves crafted to try to drive a wedge between Zion and the New Orleans Pelicans. Zion was unable to play a sport that he has dedicated his entire life to for over a year. The toll that had to have taken on his mental health must have been significant. He didn't spend any time away from his team making cryptic tweets or throwing shade at the Pelicans. He didn't run to the front office asking for a trade. All he did was keep his head down while putting in the work to get healthy and get back on the court again. The media failed to do the most important thing when it came to reporting on Zion's rehabilitation and his time away from the team. There was one person whose opinion was the most important piece of this puzzle: Zion's.
Because at the beginning of the season, I told the world, if y'all ever want to know if I want to be here, just ask me. And instead of asking me, the world just ran with narratives.
With that said, I'm calling it right now, bruh. Pelicans, Bulls, NBA Finals, 2023. MVP candidates for the series: Brandon Ingram and Vucevic.